So IPFS stands by Interplanetary File System, and basically it's a way to store content assets in a decentralized way. To explain it simple, it's like picture Amazon services, Dropbox or whatever, that it's a way to store asset, but it's centralized. It's centralized because there is only one entity behind the thing. So for example, if you store something on Dropbox, and let's say that Dropbox have a struggle on the market and go out of business, basically Dropbox shuts the door. If you don't have any backup of your things and there is no prior notice, you lose your asset. So that it's centralized way. Decentralized stands by there is a lot of different entities that can store the same asset. Meaning that the big shift is whatever happened to one entity, if there is at least two entities storing the things, you are safe. So it's why it's called decentralized. The way that IPFS is working, it's like you have to store the asset on the system, and after you will have to manage a server to store the asset. And if there is at least one server that stores the asset, the thing is going to be available on the whole system. And the more servers store the asset, the better. If, for example, there is one server, if you only have one server that stores one asset, and this server drop the asset it's not more available on the system. Before there was no a lot of streaming platform, like you go and you have a video on demand, So before it was like peer-to-peer system need to be created, and Emule was one of them, and we use also ERC channel to find out the source to go grab the file. But to put it simple, picture on your head how Emule was working, it's like peer-to-peer. So it's like there is several people on the world that have one asset and offer that to the world. You have third services like Pinata that offer on your behalf to manage an hardware, to have a server. So it's like on your end, it's like you should have a desktop to store something on it. So instead of having that on your at your home, you use third services that is going to do that on your behalf. To have access to something, in a Web2 way, you have to know where it's located. So you have to type HTTPS / and the address. Okay, so you have to know where it's located to have access to it. On IPFS, you only have to know the ID of the things to have access to it. So instead of knowing where it is to know to have access to it, you need to know what it is. The first thing is you need to have at least one server that store an asset to have it available on all the system. And the second one is instead of searching from where it's the things, it's what it's the things. Wherever it is, you are able to find it. You don't have to know, okay, it's stored on the server of this person. You only have to know what it's these things.